Nancy and Tequin live in Ealing, West London. They already have one son, Rudy, who was born 20 months ago. Nancy had planned a home birth with Rudy, but it didn't work out, and her experience of a hospital birth was traumatic. This time she's even more determined to have a home birth.
It was 3 days before my due date, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Sunday night.
Saturday, Sunday night, wasn't it?
1 o'clock in the morning, I was in bed and I felt a sensation that I thought my waters had broken. So I got up and went to the loo, and well, I can't sort of describe it without being too graphic. It was just like a gushing, which to me I thought was definitely waters breaking, and I turned the light on and it was most definitely blood. It was a very heavy bleed. We still weren't actually sure whether that was right or not. Yeah. You know, not having gone through it before, I still thought that it could have been normal. And then you phoned the hospital.
And they just basically said, just come in.
Come in straight away, which immediately kind of spun me into a bit of panic, because I'd been, from the word go, planning a home birth with Rudy.
They said, after doing the check was right, that's it, you're not leaving here until the baby's born.
Yeah.
Which was, the whole thing had changed for us then completely. We were supposed to be having a home birth, and there we were at 12 o'clock at night in a hospital, completely unprepared for that whole situation.
So that was a bit horrible, really, being stuck in one of those little beds with a curtain round you, frightened.
We were sitting there from about 8 o'clock asking, or Nancy was asking, to be checked every 10 minutes just to see if we were in a position to go downstairs.
It was just terrifying.
Otherwise I was going to get thrown out down to reception, where I could sit with all the weirdos down there or go home. And literally just at 9 o'clock, when they were closing the ward, they decided to send you down, didn't they?
And yeah, I mean, that was a huge sense of relief, because the thought of being left there without you there as well was even more frightening. And that whole kind of panic of wishing, you know, things to progress, I don't think helped at all. I didn't have my birthing ball, there were no kind of cushions, there was just the bed that I was trying to kneel on, and I called for the midwife and sort of asked what stage I was at, and she said I'd probably had about another 5 or 6 hours to go. At which point I burst into tears and asked for a caesarean section. The midwife quite calmly suggested that there were other options. So I ended up having an epidural. While, you know, it initially wasn't something I wanted, just the thought of being able to stop and lay down and relax and possibly even get some rest was just all that I wanted to hear, you know. And eventually, I mean, I almost managed to push Rudy out. I think he was crowning, his head was almost out. Yeah, I had a hand up and head wasn't tucked down properly, so that's possibly the reason the contractions weren't really working.
Nancy and Rudy then had to stay in hospital for a further 7 days because Rudy developed jaundice.
Obviously, once Nancy had given birth and then moved up to the, wherever it was, postnatal ward it is, with all the living dead walking around, stumbling around. I could only stay for a certain amount of time and do the visits occasionally, so yeah, I was going back and then coming back in the morning and everything, so that was really tiring.
And coming out of hospital and coming home, I felt the first thing I can remember leaving hospital with him, I was frightened. I was really, really scared actually walking out of the hospital. I felt like a rabbit caught in headlights with this tiny little baby.
And now he's pulling the house apart. Which is why everything's all off the shelves and a million miles high. Uh-oh. What have you done?
It's Tuesday morning. I've got a consultant appointment at the hospital this morning to check the growth rate of the baby. At my last appointment there was some concern. The consultant thought I was notably small for my dates, so he wanted to do this extra scan just to be sure and on the safe side. He did kind of try to sow a seed of doubt in my mind, and said that if the baby was small, then he would rather I was in hospital so the baby could be monitored. Obviously that's something I really don't want. I've literally got back from my appointment with the consultant and my scan. Everything was absolutely fine, which is brilliant news. The predicted birth weight, the sonographer told me, as of today is £6.11, so, and that's an average. There's absolutely no worries at all about the baby's weight. Saying that, I've still come away feeling quite deflated and anxious. Every time I go for an appointment at the hospital, I feel like there are always reasons I'm being given as to why I shouldn't be having a home birth. But every time I go back there, they bring the subject up and make me feel like I'm putting my baby at risk, even though I don't feel that I am. I feel like I'm actually giving myself a better chance of you know, having the kind of birth that I want, and a safe birth without all the fear and worry and stress and tension. Sorry. That I had when I gave birth to Rudy, because I was so frightened in hospital. And I so desperately want to enjoy this experience and have a positive experience that I know I can have. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this programme, is to just kind of encourage more women to go with their natural instinct and do what feels right for them.